This episode of AI Success Cast is brought to you by the AI to Human copywriting system. Are you ready to crack the code and discover how to add your unique passion and energy to your AI-generated copy without all those tired, cringy AI words and phrases you see all over the place now? Visit AI2HumanCopy.com to merge the speed of AI with your authentic human heart and watch your sales soar.
Welcome to AI Success Cast, the quintessential podcast for entrepreneurs, marketers, and tech enthusiasts that shows you how to innovate, inspire, impact, and integrate the transformative power of artificial intelligence into your businesses and professional life. This is where technology meets human ambition. The future of AI becomes an accessible reality, and listeners like you are empowered to rewrite your success story in the age of AI. Be sure to visit our website at aisuccesscast.com, and while you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now get your notepad ready, make yourself comfortable, and prepare to be powerfully prompted toward profit. Hey everybody, welcome back into the AI Success Cast. I'm Andy O'Brien. Great to have you along for this next episode. And this time around, we're with Bob Woods, who was one of the first people on LinkedIn, which is pretty wild. He joined in December 2003 when LinkedIn was just a few months old, and he's never looked back. He's an award-winning salesperson, has utilized LinkedIn and social selling even before social selling was a thing. Now he uses all of those, including Sales Navigator, to help sales professionals start trust-based conversations with prospects. And this is big, without being salesy, which apparently I can't stand. So now he's integrating generative AI, ChatGPT and Claude and all them, into his offerings so that sales pros and those who support them can confidently navigate our new era of sales. Bob has trained and coached sales professionals around the world at companies big and small to effectively use LinkedIn and other tools to start sales conversations with qualified buyers. Specific companies where he has trained salespeople and teams include Experian, Penn Mutual, State Street, and UPS. So, Bob Woods, welcome to the AI Success Cast. Great to have you.
It is excellent to be here, Andy. Thank you very much for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Well, you've been one of the longtime members of the AI Success Club, so I appreciate you being in there. But you've done so much besides that, and you've had me on your podcast, so I appreciate you being on ours. Let's talk AI for a while. How can AI personalize sales strategies and communications, specifically with like conversion rates and customer relationships? I mean, there are so many, and here comes my dog and there are so many applications for it.
There are so many applications. Yeah, exactly. So, when it comes to personalization, it really, for me, comes down to a couple things. One, you have to train the AI so that it talks like you with its output. And some of the easiest ways to do that is to, because I don't have the luxury of training my AI to talk like me all the time because I write a lot of things for a lot of other people. So I can't really use any of the custom instructions to train it for me. Excuse me, because I don't want it to talk like me and the person who I'm writing for. So I know of like a couple of links that I can direct the AI to pick up on my tone. I am currently developing, I don't have it done yet because I'm just too busy. I'm also developing a Word doc that has like examples of my tone that I intend on uploading that every single time that I want it to write as me so that it knows my tone ahead of time. And that's something that I strongly recommend other people to do, because if you generate something out of AI and it sounds like AI and you copy and paste it into an email or into a LinkedIn post or into a LinkedIn comment or whatever, and you don't change it, it's going to sound like AI. Your reputation's going to take a hit, and people are going to think that you're AI basically, and you just don't care, and you definitely don't want that. So it's almost like a two-pronged approach. So one, I suggest that people, somehow get their voice into AI. And then the second thing is, once it's done, you obviously want to read it over. You want to make sure that it sounds like you. So read it over and then read it out loud. And that's probably the biggest thing right there, because if you're reading it out loud and it doesn't either just sound right to your ear, or if you're like stumbling over words and phrases and things like that because you don't use that word or you don't talk that way, you're going to pick up on that right away. So AI can do I'd say about, even when you give it your voice, it's probably about 80% good. It depends. It depends on, quite frankly, what you upload and how much of your voice is actually in there. But you still need to be hands-on with it to make sure that it sounds like you, to make sure that it's authentic and genuine, so that if someone decides to have a sales conversation with you and do a Zoom or do a phone call, or even meet in person or whatever, you're not going to come in and sound completely different from everything that they've read or even seen with you on video, if you generate video scripts or whatever. And by the way, if you generate video scripts, you're automatically gonna suss that stuff out, because otherwise you're going to be stumbling on the video, and that doesn't look good either.
Right. Man, you are singing my tune here. This is right up my alley. Authenticity is so important. And one, I'm glad you said to say it out loud, because one of the things I say in a lot of my trainings is act as if you're having lunch across from the person, from your reader. And would you say these things when you're sitting down with that person,
Yeah, that's a bit more of a macro approach, but I love that, because what I teach is definitely more of the micro stuff, make sure that it sounds okay. But if you're talking about subjects and you wouldn't bring this stuff, if you wouldn't bring up a subject to someone, then why would you put it in your content? That's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant.
So how have the AI tools you've been working with transformed the way sales professionals create and distribute content on, platforms like LinkedIn? Because there's so many tools out there. And it seems like it could be really hard to pick the right ones, that resonate.
Yeah. So here's the thing about tools. There are so many out there. They're not doing the type of job that I would like to see them do. And that is to take something from the very beginning through to the very end without having to pull in like 8 or 9 different apps to get things done. I'm sure that someone who is smarter than me when it comes to stuff like this is probably working on this, but I ideally want a platform, and unfortunately it's got to be another platform. And I know that the tech stack for salespeople, especially at larger companies, is already immense. And when you try to throw other things into the tech stack, you get a lot of resistance from salespeople. And something, it's rightly so, because they're already filling in Salesforce. They're already filling in, maybe a separate CMS or whatever, and it's already getting big. There are tools out there, like a video tool that handles video tools that handle like basic editing as well as captions and things like that. And there's all types of things out there. We use Canva a lot to generate images, and that's okay on the AI end, but it's not really great. We may end up using AI for like some elements, and then manually, constructing whatever you want to say, everything else. One tool that we do use is called Magical, which is a text expander. But one of the things you can do is actually have like fields that you fill in. So like when you call up a prompt, you can have a prompt that's in there, but then have like specific fields to fill in, like role of a prospect or title of a prospect that you're looking for, and things like that. And everything else is kind of static. That's a pretty good tool as long as the prompt that you're going in with is good. And that's always kind of the thing too. And it's all about the prompting, isn't it, Andy?
Garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly. Exactly. It's like I was thinking about this a little earlier today. Back in the day, and we're talking in like 90s when, there were like computer whiz kids who were developing all of their own code and doing like all of this unique stuff. They were inputting this stuff and they were developing the code and doing all this stuff themselves. So you had like a lot of truly tech savvy kids. Nowadays, those kids don't necessarily know stuff anymore because they're going to an app store and just downloading stuff.
Yep.
And that's all that we're doing. So right now, where we're at in AI is similar to the 90s in that all of the cool people like you and me, Andy, we're cool when it comes to AI. Did you know that? We're doing all this development stuff. It's easier for us because we are using the English language rather than learning a brand new programming language and having to do all that stuff. We're just using the English language to develop prompts. The bad part about that is we're using the English language to develop prompts. You have to be exact. You have to be precise when it comes to prompting, as you all know, because otherwise, just like you said, garbage in, garbage out. So, when we debug, we have to debug the English language. And I just kind of thought, that's really interesting. So you have to be really precise because otherwise it's garbage in, garbage out. So getting back to my point about, going from that a bunch of apps that do like different things, we need some type of application. I don't know what that is right now, to where we can start with something and then that takes us through the entire process. It would start with us generating some like video script, for example. But then at that point, rather than having to go to another thing and fire something else up and everything else, it will actually record us at that point doing what we need to do. And then it will edit things. It would potentially give us B-roll or graphics and everything within one environment. And then once we get through all that and get all the captions in and get the copy for the actual post, if it's LinkedIn, already done, and that's constructed in a way that's attractive and is good for the algorithm and has keywords and everything else in it, then it just publishes by itself, basically. We don't have that kind of thing yet. I think for AI to really, really take off, we need that kind of, I don't want to say enclosed ecosystem because that's what Apple's doing right now, and Apple's getting into a lot of trouble because of it. But we need something like that out there, and we don't have that yet, which is why we have a million different tools that do like different flavors of the same thing. And I think that that's actually slowing AI adoption to a certain extent because there's just too much going on out there right now.
Yeah. And I think it's safe to say that it's coming. And
it's coming. Yeah. Oh, without a doubt, it's coming. And it's going to come fast.
Yeah. And it's going to eliminate a lot of these plugins and apps and all that. And really, I think it's coming sooner than we may even realize. Maybe by
everything about it. Yeah. Yeah, everything about AI so far has come so much sooner, and that all has to do, in my opinion, with the fact that we have cloud now. We have bandwidth that, while it's not quite unlimited, it's definitely a hell of a lot faster than it used to be. We have the computing power. I mean, we have NVIDIA now developing specific processors for AI. I mean, it's like when the internet first started out, it didn't explode because we didn't have the pipes for it. We didn't have the computing power for it. But once we started getting all that stuff more and more, it's taking off. With AI, we've already got all that stuff either in place or being developed very quickly. So I think that you're going to see AI take off much quicker, much quicker than the internet ever did, than the internet did.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we just have come so far just since it launched in November of 2022.
Yep.
And it's just been quite a ride. So
yep.
I want to pick your brain a little, Bob, about direct messaging on LinkedIn, because it's, for me personally, when I go on LinkedIn and I get a direct message, it's just such a turnoff. I mean, and it's almost like as soon as you accept someone as a connection in there, and you get that immediate automated message, like direct message, right then, as soon as you accept, and I don't even care what it is at that point, it's automated.
Yeah.
I don't want to even see it. And I'm sure I'm not alone when feeling that way. And AI, it seems like, would just make that worse, right?
Yeah.
So how do you see this? How do you see AI actually making it better instead of worse in that kind of scenario?
Yeah. So number one, people really need to stop using automation. I mean, it's like I always say, when it comes to automation and LinkedIn, people using it is why we can't have nice things, because people just destroy it because they're trying to go the easy way. They're trying to use the easy button. And when it comes to relationships, starting and making relationships that may or may not turn into a sales conversation, there's no easy button there. I mean, there's no easy button in starting a relationship in real life. Why the heck would it be any different online? So, so what you do instead is really slow down that process so that you could speed up the outcome. And you do that with messaging. And with messaging with AI, you can generate or you can create prompts that will specifically look for things like, what is this person interested in? What emotion that you can tap in with this person can would potentially have them thinking about having a conversation with you. And then you tailor that with content rather than just asking for a call. You lead with value first. You lead with helping them. Don't talk about how you help people, just help people. If you do all of that, and if you help their situation before they even have a chance to talk with you, you're actually building up in their mind that you're an expert, you're a thought leader, without saying yourself that you're an expert or you're a thought leader, because that's just egotistical and conceited. But if they're thinking that, then they will not only hopefully want to speak with you, but because you're coming in with that expert status, they will hopefully treat you more. They will hopefully trust you more as more of an expert rather than just some salesperson who's trying to sell, who's just trying to sell them something and get ink on a contract and then move on.
So just like all these other things, it's all in the prompting, right?
It's all ultimately in the prompting, and then just being authentic, just like you talk about all the time, prompting, being authentic, being genuine, wanting to genuinely help people without being salesy.
Right. And well, hopefully people will catch on to that, and
Yeah.
it will create some traction with LinkedIn messaging, because otherwise it's going to kill it,
Yeah. I mean, I just got a message from someone like 2 days ago that said, "Hey, I am," and then it listed some things in that and just kind of ended. But the things that it listed was actually copied and pasted from my profile.
Whoa. Oh my.
And so what is this message even all about? Because number one, it didn't ask for anything. You said, "Hi, I'm an expert in," and I forget exactly what it said, but you could tell that it was either a scraper or someone maybe did this personally, but they copied and pasted from my profile, put it into their message, and then made it sound like them.
That's ridiculous.
It's just amazing sometimes, and definitely not all the time. I don't want to paint a broad brush on everyone, but some of these people are just idiots. They're just idiots. And you don't want to be an idiot. So you want to do things intelligently. You want to go and lead with value, have a genuine interest in helping people, because the person who sent that message to me, I don't know what they wanted, but they obviously weren't interested in helping me.
Well, they want to take shortcuts, and that seems to be the predominant strategy these days.
Yeah, the easy button doesn't exist.
So let's talk content creation for LinkedIn, because there's so many things AI can help salespeople with regards to creating content. And I mean, it's all about more engaging and targeted posting and video scripting and interactivity. And I mean,
Yeah.
let's kind of deconstruct that and kind of show people how they can use AI to really improve their content creation.
Yeah. So one thing you can do is actually start a Zoom. Just like, right now you and I are talking on Zoom. Start a Zoom bub with yourself and just have some talking points and just start talking about your industry, maybe about how you help the customer, and the benefit that they did, and how you help that customer, and how that could help other people. You can then put that you can and then get a transcript of that. You could then put that into AI, and through good prompting, you could actually come out with like several posts, probably a couple of videos, and you could really use like one big piece of content and split it into several different smaller pieces of content, and probably not even use that big piece of content because you're splitting it into several different things, and then use AI to develop all of that into these specific pieces of content, whether it's just text posts, or if you want to pull some video from it and then, go through the AI and all the other separate things that are out there right now to actually edit it. But still, really use that one big piece of content and then go through and really split it up. I mean, you can have someone interview yourself if you're uncomfortable. Give a family member something and just have them interview you, and you're talking back and forth. That would work just as well. But that is one of the big ways that AI can really help you in terms of like splitting out the content and figuring out what's going to work, and how to write the text for the post that goes into the video and everything else. And then if you want to use like LinkedIn and Instagram, for example, a prompt or a custom GPT can actually help you develop different content, because the LinkedIn audience and the Instagram audience are obviously very different audiences. Right. You can't use LinkedIn text style for Instagram or vice versa. So AI can help with all of that.
A lot of people, I'm guessing, I mean, maybe I'm way off on this, but from what I've gathered over the years, people tend to shy away from LinkedIn because they feel like it's a little intimidating, too I don't know, like really hard edged and like corporate-y and like really ultra uber professional. And I mean, is that kind of what, and I think it's scaring some people off who might actually really succeed in there. Has that been your experience, or?
That was my experience several years ago. One of the things that's been happening that actually kind of took off during the pandemic was that LinkedIn got really Facebook-like, in that people were really starting to share a lot of like Facebook type of content, and there was a lot of pushback from the community on that, because there is a way, and it's actually very effective, and people should do this. If you have a personal story that you want to share, you can tie that into something professional and kind of make like a here's what I learned from that type of thing, without just, and people didn't take it this far, but this is the only example I can think of. But, like, here's the fantastic sushi dish that I had, and they share a photo of it. And, the only thing I get out of it is, damn, I want sushi tonight, but nothing else. So I do think that the pendulum swung the other way for a while to like really personal content. Now it's kind of settled back to where you still do have that corporate content, and there's no doubt that it's still out there. The corporate content is wrong, by the way, but it's still out there. And then you have people, who are still doing like some personal stuff, and they're still trying to Instagram things to a certain extent. Like I said before, that can work, but it needs to be done in the right way. What it's ultimately about is, when it comes to like sharing and things like that, at least, is to really just help people it gets back to what I was talking about before. Help people through your content. You have to know who you're trying to help, how you're trying to help them. And, you're always trying to lead to your solution and not with your solution. How you do that is through helping people.
What a concept, right?
Exactly. Exactly. But, they are right in that some of that corporate stuff is still out there. It's always going to be out there. If people are afraid to go to networking events, because I think that sometimes people do view LinkedIn as like a networking event, which it kind of is, but it kind of isn't. It's easier to start conversations potentially on LinkedIn if you do it the right way because you're not face to face.
Yeah, sure. So let's kind of peer into your crystal ball here, Bob, and let me know what you see as the future of using AI for LinkedIn purposes. We've kind of touched on this a bit, like with the all-encompassing tools under one ecosystem, things like that. But what else are you thinking or hoping will happen in the future with AI?
Well, number one, I hope that LinkedIn's own internal AI gets better, because there are for people who are premium members, they do have access to some very basic AI tools that will help them rewrite things. It's not great right now. I hope that it gets better. It probably will get better. There are people who I'm sure working on it, and that will get better. But when it comes to AI and LinkedIn, so LinkedIn has this thing about about no automation, although people still use it all the time. By the way, you can get shut down if you use automation. I imagine that AI automation is going to be the same thing. LinkedIn is really trying to make sure that people don't use that. So it is going to be probably a lot of copying and pasting still. But when it comes to, when it comes to AI and LinkedIn, I think it's really just going to come down to having access to tools that are trained on LinkedIn, or that you train it specifically for not only just the LinkedIn kind of overall mindset, which, like I said, is definitely different from an Instagram and things like that, that along with your voice, along with the audience who you're trying to reach, along with, whatever topics that your audience wants to hear about, not what you want to talk about. And that's very important. You have to be writing about stuff that your audience wants to talk and wants to hear, because you're trying to help them. You're not trying to help yourself.
Right.
So combine all of that stuff together into, and I don't think it's a mega prompt. I don't think it's a segmented prompt. I think that there's, some kind of custom instructions or custom GPT like functionality going on in the background, so that you can come in and just type in some things, and then it will generate something that you can then obviously make sure it sounds like you, read it out loud, all the stuff that I said before. But then at that point, you can paste in or do a video, and then, because that's still going to have to be a manual thing for a while. So, upload that. But I do think that there is definitely a way for AI to help people out, especially because it takes time to do this stuff. If AI can help trim that time, I think you're going to see a lot more people using it. It's just right now, there's nothing really out there LinkedIn specific that can really help people trim time, because everybody's still writing prompts, and that takes time. Once you have the prompt down, it's great. But you got to you've got to use the English language programming, which I think I'm going to start calling it that, the English language programming, to, help you do all this stuff. And when it comes to programming, if you've programmed something, once it's debugged and once it's running, it's great, but it's kind of a pain to get to that point, and it takes a lot of time.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll just take it day to day and see what happens.
Yeah. Hopefully someone who has much more tech experience is listening to this, and they'll go, "Hey, Bob, I developed something based on you. Do you want 10%?"
Right.
And I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds good."
People have some aha moments watching this or listening to it. So
Hope so.
Bob,
I'm here to help.
If someone wants to learn more from you, and you'll have some things on the podcast page here on the site, but if someone's watching on YouTube or whatever, where can people go to learn more about you?
Yeah, so probably the easiest thing is to just go to my LinkedIn profile, which is linkedin.com/in/Bob Woods. It's real simple, Bob Woods. Social Sales Link is the company. If you do want to visit the site, it's socialsaleslink.com, and just go from there. We're pretty open. I don't connect with anyone, especially if you send me one of those spam type messages. But if you're real and genuine, I'll very, very likely.
Awesome. Well, Bob Woods, thank you so much for being on the AI Success Cast. It's great to chat with you on here, and we'll see you in the club and future meetings.
Definitely.
And just, hey, have fun, keep having fun with AI and changing lives.
Yeah, that is the plan, helping people out with AI. Thanks, Andy. I really appreciate the time.
Thank you for tuning into AI Success Cast, where you gain the tips, tools, and tactics that prompt you to easily innovate, inspire, impact, and integrate the transformative power of artificial intelligence in your business and professional life. Remember to visit our website at aisuccesscast.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on AI Success Cast.